Sub Rosa is a game concept I quite well enjoy, the basic premise being a world of corporate ambition. You get to join one of many businesses to gain as much money as possible by making clean deals with your competition. But if the deal goes south, you might just have to blast your way out and make your getaway. Pretty cool concept, but it is completely and utterly ruined by its community. Now when I talk about Sub Rosa, I am referring to World Mode, because that's what everyone plays now. So if one of you say, oh, but what about Round Mode? Yes, Round Mode doesn't get ruined by toxic guys as much as World Mode, because griefers are more likely to choose the freedom of World Mode. But that doesn't stop having games where a guy goes around screaming fat and nigger while gunning everyone down. Real event that I witnessed. Another mention I should make is that people who say, well, it's not fair to judge an unfinished game like this, well, take a look at the store page right now. This may change after this video is uploaded, but right now, it's been set to early access. Before, it was hidden on the store page, which says, this is too unfinished for the general public to play. Now that it's in early access, it's asking for feedback. So yes, I am aware the game is unfinished, but most of my problems are with the players and not the game itself. And by the way, Build 38 isn't really behind the core problems, it just amplified them because the game went public. So now it's flooded with RDMers and people who don't respect the core concept of the game. I need to give a bit of a rundown of how World Mode games are conducted and the possibilities of gameplay. So, you spawn in the world with your bank account and that's it. Around the map are gun stores and car dealerships where, surprise surprise, you can buy guns and cars by pressing tab in the store area and then choosing one of the options. But you don't have enough money to get these things, so you get a 9mm pistol and a $100 car, or you just steal a passing by car. Now you really want to get loaded with cash, so you decide to find your way to a corporation. Now you have a few possibilities as to what you'll see/experience. You will show up to a corp and nobody's home, but it's already managed by someone, so you can't get a job. You show up and there is someone home, but they won't open the door because they don't want to get gunned down immediately. Someone's home, and when you show up, they do open the door and decide to gun you down immediately.
You go and finish decrypting. No!
You arrive, and you see that it's being camped by another corporation so that nobody else but them can play the fucking game. Maybe you'll show up to a place that has nobody there and nobody managing it, so you have to push your back against the wall so you can nab manager. Or just maybe, you show up to a business and they open up and let you apply for a job. Wow, you finally have a job. Now you can get to the real game. This is where the game can get really enjoyable. You get to show up to labs and have shootouts with NPCs to steal floppy disks so you can take them back to the base to decrypt. Then you get the directions to go and download the project needed, and once you get back to the base, you might get money off of the project, or you'll have to trade with another corporation. Then you have to call up the corporation and discuss your prices, and set up a time and a place to make a deal. But you might get competition trying to nab the money, or the original deal itself goes south. On paper, this sounds like a great mix of action, social interaction, and chill moments, but in practice, it all falls apart. To start off, you might not even get to leave your base because, and this is my experience on the only public servers available, you have to deal with people constantly camping outside your base. They just sit out there and wait for you to open the door so they can gun you down. Some people would say, get good, but even when you are good at gunplay, how is it fun to constantly have these mindless combats?
Yep.
Oh my god, dude! Oh my fucking god, dude! I have no idea what happened. I have no idea what happened, but like as soon as
Now let's say, hypothetically, You get to actually go on these generated missions. I would say that the structure of the missions are pretty limited, but the draw of the game is that you decide how deals go down and how to engage with other businesses. You make the missions, basically. So having repetitive town car and lab jobs is fine with me, but the fact that in world mode, deals almost always go the exact same way, or you just get gunned down, which I have found to be almost every deal I make nowadays. It makes it all feel like a grind rather than an experience. In the new trailer they added, they have this wonderful animation of a deal that goes south. They use walkie-talkies, they actually meet up at a location that isn't a base, there's build-up to the combat. It's exactly what the community wants Sub Rosa to be. But my god, are they right. This is not representative of gameplay at all. Here's how every deal is ever made since computers came out.
Over and over, I'm trying and trying to tell you I'm crying for love. Why no reply?
Yeah, we got Project Ghost. How much? 20,000? 50-50? 50-50. Alright, come over to the base. Alright, I'll be there.
You know who's calling, why no reply?
Started from the bottom, now we way up. And I got that baddie bitch, she stays up. Ain't no fucking playing, we ain't game boys. Now we got a name, they wanna frame us. Make sure that you keep a third.
The night is falling, I want your lips close to mine.
Yeah, we're outside, open up. Now I enjoy computers. I think they add a lot of pure gameplay to Sub Rosa, but now deals feel so boring and low energy. When you have a game this open-ended, you need incentives for any of this cool stuff to happen. Get good, bruh. Role-playing scum learn to live a little. Oh yeah, I'm really living the dream, walking down the street and getting gunned down for no reason. I thought this was a business FPS, not a Baltimore simulator.
What if we camped bases?
Give me one reason I shouldn't have my lackey shoot you right here.
How about a magic trick? I'm going to make this Goldman disappear. Ta-da! He's gone.
I want to hear what Watcher has to say.
Let's wind the clocks back 2 years. These devs wouldn't dare add a system like criminal rating. I mean, come on. We gotta keep killing white shirts. And if we don't deal with this soon, little Goldman here won't have a stack to give to his grandma.
Enough from the white shirt.
You can't kill me, you'll get timed out.
Now, a big question I see commenters asking, or outright stating they are right, is if Sub Rosa is a roleplay or PvP. Now let's break down the word roleplay. Role, a character, assigned or assumed. Play, the conduct or course of a game. So, to roleplay would mean to actively conduct yourself as a character or a different person from yourself. This is important for later, so remember this. Now let's look at what the developers— I keep saying developers because I was under the assumption that Alex had gotten more after he signed with Devolver Digital, but apparently they did not give him any more help. Maybe he didn't ask for it, I'm not sure. Describe and display their game's intention. Yes, I know that just because an artist has an interpretation of something doesn't mean it can't be perceived in a different way by the public. The description for World Mode is: multiple corporations vie for money and power by taking control of different colored discs through clean trades or bloody acquisitions. Both cash and discs are immensely valuable and allow players to purchase guns, cars, equipment, and other clothing that may contribute to their company's success. Smooth transactions and smart business practices with others can eventually lead to riches, while a quick trigger and a steady aim can get you there faster, as long as you're the one still standing. As we can see, the developers believe the game is a balance of shootouts and making clean deals. For every peaceful description, we have a violent one. Along with the fact that the way you win Sub Rosa is by making money, and you don't get money from shooting, you get it from making deals. But Ruben Cat, how do you make these clean deals?
When it comes to making these deals, you have to 1. Call or approach a businessman who you can make a deal with. 2. Attempt to explain your terms for this transaction. 3. This is optional. Barter as to the payout or gain of each party. 4. Confirm and conclude your transaction based on the deal agreed upon.
Now, to do such a thing, you would have to entertain the idea that you, as the player, are within the world and want to gain money or power through a conversation that doesn't have bearing on the real world. In the real world, you are not a businessman working for Goldman, but you engage in the deal as if you were. To put it simply, you are playing as a businessman. Or in other words, you are playing the role of a businessman. Or
To roleplay!
Now, I understand this argument could be used to say that every game is a role-playing game, but what I am getting at here is that the descriptions and promotional material implies that their view of how they would want the game to be played is where players would engage in light role-playing as businessmen who make deals, but have the risky option of engaging in combat. If we were to compare it to a game like Rust, we can strip it down to its base concept. What is Rust? Well, if we look at its core mechanics, we have base building, crafting, and survival elements. There isn't really a way to win, so we have to look at the base of the game, and see that gameplay-wise, it doesn't directly support peaceful interactions with other players. It basically incentivizes you to attack bases with all the weapons you're able to craft, along with the setting and setup being an empty map, and you spawn as a caveman. So yes, I would like people to enjoy some player interaction more, but I can't make the argument that at its core, it's an RP game. Now, if we strip Sub Rosa down, you see that the way you progress is by making money. Killing a player doesn't give you money, but taking what they have on them can give you money. However, both players are given valuables to trade, so you can get this peacefully without forcefully taking things from people. We also see mission descriptions that push the player to meet with other corporations to get a disc or money. But you could say, well, what if it's implying you should kill them for the disc or money? Okay then, why do we have phones? Is that just there so you can make funny prank calls before you gun them down? Then, we look at the setting and setup, which puts you in a suit as a businessman. And tell me, what do businessmen do? That's right, they try to make money by talking to people. Do I need to dumb it down any more to explain that the core of Sub Rosa is an RP game? Now, I'm not saying I need the whole game to be filled with people doing funny characters and impressions.
What are you looking at? Whoa, put the gun down! Put the gun down!
I lost that tongue. I can't lick.
With Goodfellas level storytelling.
I want to hear this fact.
Man with no money. I have, a band. That's a good deal right there, boss.
I don't know if that's a good deal. No. Hey, let's.
Your kids? You have kids? What are you betting with if you have kids?
How are you so broke? You
It's alright. Where's the $10 that we had? Where's the
This guy's lying. This guy's lying.
Did you think Double or Nothing was any good?
No much sad berserk music is gonna save you, buddy.
But there are so many games that are made to be PvP. But people choose Sub Rosa because they get the freedom to ruin the game and beat people who aren't fighting back.
Long time ago, I was playing Space Station 13, and a group of roboticists were making mechs to overthrow the station. but a clown robbed the lab and made out with their work. So, the science department went looking for the mech, but by the end of the round, nobody got attacked by this mech. Once it was all over, they found the empty mech floating in space. The clown threw it away.
So, why steal it?
He thought it was funny at the time. Some players aren't looking for anything reasonable, like money. They can't be bought, called, traded, or made deals with. Some players just want to watch World Mode burn.
Now, I believe Sub Rosa is half a role-playing game and half a shooter based on everything I laid out. But the label or point doesn't matter to some people. Some don't care what the developers intend and play it as a mindless shooter anyways. But I'd like to explain my reasoning behind why turning Sub Rosa into a PvP game is a less fulfilling experience when it can be so much more. Now, I'd like to talk about a little thing called setup and payoff. This is usually brought up with movies, but I feel as though it applies to games just as much. In stories, you have setups, which lay down the groundwork for something enjoyable to happen later. Let's look at Die Hard. Now in Die Hard, we set up our characters, location, and plot. This being our lead, John McClane, a cocksure cop with domestic issues. Our location of a big fucking building, and our plot being terrorists trying to take over the big fucking building to get some money. You spend time laying down the stakes of your story so you understand what's going on and why you should care. Then, we get to see payoffs like John McClane shooting terrorists, jumping off of the building, Germans getting shot off the building, McClane making up with his wife, and so on. We feel connected to John as a character and care about the things that he goes through. If you just saw a clip of John jumping off the building with no build-up of the rest of the movie, you're more likely to say, it was pretty cool, I guess, and have no other response because you have no understanding as to who, what, when, where, and why. Now, how does this relate to a game with no set story? The point is that things need to happen with purpose or they aren't as engaging for the audience. I know. Surprising. I would like to talk about overstimulation. The brain has a funny way of dealing with the senses. We have this thing called tolerance. When something is repeated over and over again, the brain slowly has less of a reaction to it. This is why the same fucking meme repeated with minimal changes doesn't make you laugh as much as when you first saw it. This is another reason why you need setup. It gives the brain a cooldown so it has more visceral reactions to the payoff. So constantly having shootouts results in the brain having less of an impact when you do it. Having your first shootout in Sub Rosa can be exciting and engaging. You'll never be able to have the same feeling as your first in something, but if you take a break, you can get close to reliving the same enjoyment. So, killing people constantly in Sub Rosa without engaging in the clear setups of RP results in most people's possible enjoyment of the gunplay being diminished. But it's not like most players even care about other people's enjoyment of the game.
You actually got the money.
Stole it off of some RP scum.
Tell me, what do you spend your money on?
I'm a man of simple taste. I like M16s, AKs, and grenades. And you know the thing they all have in common? They're cheap. All you care about are clean deals. This world deserves a better class of player, and I'm gonna give it to them.
You're insane.
Insane. Why don't we gun you down and throw you to the white shirts? Then we'll see how loyal a Cryptic Sea developer really is. It's not about deals, it's about camping bases. Everyone dies.
I've changed my conclusion several times now. Sometimes I think I just despise how hostile and brain-dead public players are, and wish nothing but the worst for them. Then sometimes I think the game will become more fleshed out and weed out these people to go play other games. My final thoughts can be summed up by saying, I don't know. I don't really know if this problem can be fixed, or if it's even truly a problem to begin with. Maybe I'm just ruining the fun for people who don't have the time to build up for combat. Maybe the community will drift towards the PvP crowd and Sub Rosa will become just another open-ended FPS. Maybe the community that values social interaction in combination with PvP will be strengthened. Not really sure. The end.